Jai Hind everyone. The UN-based Human Rights Agency has now come up with another consequential and controversial report. The report that has been presented by the UN Human Rights Office of the High Commissioner has come up with a report upon the Israel-Palestine conflict and have categorically accused Israel of conducting the genocide. The report has been dismissed as a propaganda by the Israeli government. But in this session, we will be discussing all the sides of the story. We'll also verify the other side of the story, because after every conflict or after any publishing of any report, the truth is the first casualty. Now, the report that has been presented, if we talk about the context leading to the report, okay. Now, this UN Independent International Commission of Inquiry report that has been published on June 23rd is not just another UN document. It carries a significant legal and political weight because it applies the specific legal definitions of genocide, crime against humanity, and also the war crimes, and they have been covering the meaning under the international law. Now, after this report, the most primary question, the fundamental question that comes up is that does Israel's military conduct constitute intentional targeting of children, or these tragic collateral damages in a war against a terror group that embeds itself amongst the civilians? Now, we will be exploring all the opportunities and will also go behind the context that leads to this report. Okay. Now, to understand this report, we must first understand the context, because international law does not exist in a vacuum. It applies to real people, real trauma, and real historical grievances on both sides. But in this conflict, one thing has been very clearly noticed, that the terrorist organizations had used children as a shield, had used women as a shield so as to safeguard them. Now, when we talk about this entire event started from 7th of October. Okay, the Hamas-led attacks on the southern Israel had killed approximately 1,200 people and 251 were taken hostage. Okay, following which Israel had launched a large-scale military offensive in Gaza in response. Okay. By October 2025, the US had brokered a ceasefire, but it remains partially fragile. Okay. If we talk about the ongoing situation, post ceasefire, Israel has carried out nearly daily airstrikes, and it is said that over 1,000 Palestinians have been killed, and it is said that out of these, 1/4 of the population has been constituted by children, and this is an official data given by the Palestinian Ministry of Health. Now, Israel has also expanded its territorial control, and as per the statements given by the Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu, he has stated that Israel forces now control over 70% of the area. The yellow line and later an orange line have been established, and that has been gradually moving westwards and squeezing Palestine into an even a very small country. Now, both sides have been accusing each other of ceasefire violations. Israel accuses Hamas of refusing disarm and continuing the rocket attacks. Hamas has now been accusing Israel of continued airstrikes as well as the blockade against them. But this report that has come up, it has been a very controversial report that has been published at this time post the ceasefire. Now, we will have a look at the UN Commission report and what they have actually found. And the numbers that we will be seeing now are staggering. They are not just in scale, but in the proportion of children overall that have been killed. Okay. Now, the commission alleges that Israeli forces have intentionally targeted Palestinian children through the sniper fire, heavy ordnance in schools and hospitals, and denial of medical aid. The legal classifications that have been given under or as per the international laws, the Commission has concluded that these actions constitute genocide, crime against humanity, and also the war crimes. In the West Bank and East Jerusalem, the Commission concluded that these actions purely constitute war crimes. Now, when we have a closer look at the data, so total deaths in Gaza since October 2023 have been over 70,000, out of which 21,280 have been children, which constitutes to around 30% of the total deaths. Now, when we talk about post-ceasefire, around 1,020 Palestinians have been killed, out of which 265 are children. So, even after the 2025 ceasefire, children continue to be killed and seriously injured, with continued disregard allegedly by the Israel for the ceasefire and for the protection owed to Palestinian children under the international law. Now, additionally, there have been various harms. The report says that systematic destruction of schools and hospitals have been taking place. The children have been starved due to blocked humanitarian aids. Okay, there have been mass arbitrary arrest and detention of children, and many remain unaccounted in the Gaza, and their whereabouts are still unknown. In the region of West Bank also, a similar report has been published. Okay, and in West Bank they say that around 236 Palestinian children have been killed since October 23, and Israel's settlers have engaged in sharp increase in violence against the children. So this commission has called on Israel to immediately halt military operations in Gaza, and they have requested Israel to follow the special obligations towards children under international law. It has also urged the member states to arrest all Israeli officials wanted by the criminal court and to halt any sort of arm transfer all taking place to the Israel. Okay, so when we talk about the report and the legal framework which is associated with it, okay, so before we go any further, we need to understand what these legal terms actually mean, because in law the words like genocide, war crimes, they have very specific definitions, and those definitions, they would determine whether something is a crime or not. Now, why legal definition matters in this case? Because commission's findings are not just political statements. They are legal determinations based upon the established international law. Okay, so the definition of genocide has been given under Article 6 of the Rome Statute. Okay, which says that acts committed with specific intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. Okay, so they have been saying that this is part of it, and they have included the killing of members, causing seriously bodily or mental harm, and deliberately inflicting conditions of life upon the adversaries. Clear? So here in this, the term intent is very crucial. Okay, and the genocide is not just about killing, it is about killing with the specific purpose of destroying the entire group. Now, how this is relevant with respect to children? In the previous report that was published by the same organization last year, the commission had found that Israel committed 4 categories of genocidal attacks. Okay, and according to them, 3 of those 4 categories were very much relevant purely to children. Okay, so herein they were causing serious bodily or mental harms, deliberately inflicting destructive living conditions, and also killing the members of the group. Clear? Now, these have been categorized as the crime against humanity under the Rome Statute. Okay. Now, they have said that the specific acts committed as part of widespread systematic attack have been directed against any civilian population. Okay. Primarily the women and children. Okay. Now, they have also highlighted the war crimes. So they, according to the Article 8 of the Rome Statute, the serious violation of international humanitarian law have been committed during an armed conflict with the aim of willfully killing, torture, and causing great suffering to these people. Clear? So these have been given and important clarifications have also been given. Clear? So these three have been the commission findings, and even though these findings are not binding upon any of the parties, okay, these are not a binding court verdict, but still the International Criminal Court and the International Court of Justice have some ongoing processes around this, okay. The commission's role here becomes important because the commission's role is investigative and advisory and not judicial. Okay. Now, when we talk about the Israel's perspective, so Israel have categorically rejected this, and they say that these reports are propaganda, defamatory hoax, and outrageous propaganda, as have been said by the Foreign Ministry. The ambassador Danny Danon has said that political blood libel disguised as the UN document, and the Geneva mission has called it a second defamatory propaganda report, first being the one published in September 2025. Clear? So, herein, if we qualitatively go through the version of Israel, we will understand that according to them, okay, this is nothing but a propaganda against them. Okay, herein, if we talk about the self-defense argument, Israel emphasizes its right to self-defense following the October 7 massacre, where over 1,200 people were killed and around 250 plus were taken as hostage. Okay, the Hamas factor, which is the very prominent, Israel accuses the commission of ignoring Hamas' systematic use of human shields. Now, this already has been very much in news, as Israel has always depicted how Hamas has been using children and civilian population as human shields for their protection against the Israeli attacks. Now, the ambassador Danon has stated that instead of addressing Hamas, okay, the crimes that had been conducted by Hamas, the commission has again chosen to place Israel in the main dock. Israel also claims that Hamas deliberately embeds its fighters, weapons, and command centers within civilian areas, hospitals, and schools, due to which the civilian casualties are inevitable and they are part of the collateral damage. Clear? So, Israeli military has now claimed that it issues advance warnings before attacking. Okay, they say that they do conduct internal investigation into the incidents and have facilitated all sorts of humanitarian campaigns around the sites. Clear? So, Israel's verdict is also to be understood, also to be acknowledged, because it has been now verified that these terrorist organizations have been making their command centers from within the civilian areas or the places where the concentration of civilian is higher. So, during attacks upon them, in collateral, the civilian population has been killing. Okay. Now, when we say the challenges in this verification, okay, so the biggest challenge in this, okay, if we talk about the biggest challenge, so even if both sides are so certain of their position, okay, why is there so much of disagreement? Now, the main problem to this is the modern urban warfare. Now, during a modern urban warfare, the lines between combatant and civilian are very, very blurred. Okay, and the verification becomes extraordinarily difficult in this situation. Okay, now in this urban warfare complexity in densely populated Gaza region, distinguishing between combatants and civilians is exceptionally difficult, and the UN relies on local health ministry data, and Israel questions its verification methods. Okay, moreover, the human shield debate has also been taking rounds. Okay, so it has been said that even if fighters are present in civilian areas, targeting the entire civilian infrastructure, hospitals, schools, residential buildings with heavy weapons is something that should not have taken place. Clear? Moreover, these attacks constitute disproportionate and also unlawful attacks over these areas. Okay. Moreover, the Israel views this as something different. Okay. It says that Hamas deliberate embedding in the civilian population makes the casualties unfortunate and inevitable. Okay. Moreover, the Israel has also argued that there are tragic collateral damages in a war against a terrorist group that has been using civilians as the shield. But the impact has now been on both societies. Okay, the Israeli society also remains traumatized after the October 7 attacks. Okay, moreover, the Palestinian society has been enduring massive displacement. Okay, you can just consider that over 70,000 deaths and around 21,000 out of which are children. Clear? So as the tensions between both the groups have been escalating. Okay, and this is not now a localized conflict. It has potential to draw in multiple regional actors, and this has not allowed the region to move towards peace. Okay, verification challenges have already been there. So commission's findings are based upon open source intelligence, satellite imageries, witness testimony, and official data. Moreover, the commission has not the commission did not have on the ground access to Gaza, and they have relied mainly on remote verification methods. Okay, so Israel is also right in saying this, that the findings that have been carried out by the commission are inherently unreliable. Now, if we talk about the international reactions to this, okay, so there have been divisive reactions to this. Okay, so this report is not just legal implication; it has profound political consequences also. The international community is deeply divided on how to respond to this. Okay, now several UN Security Council members, the Palestinian Authority, the League of Arab States, and multiple international NGOs have endorsed the report findings. Okay, so basically, the groups that are aligned against Israel, they have acknowledged this report. Okay, and according to them, this is nothing less than a systematic dehumanization. Okay, the Palestinian officials, the Palestinian Ministry of Foreign Affairs has welcomed this report, saying its importance lies in reaffirming the international community's failure to stop violations that are being committed by Israel. Okay. Moreover, there have also been a few countries in support of Israel. The US has defended Israel at the UN Security Council and have questioned the Commission's mandate and impartiality. Okay. Several Western countries have also expressed concern over the report's bias, and the human rights expert Anne Bevske has criticized the inquiry, stating it violates every rule of fairness, impartiality, and due process. Okay, so even though claims that have been made by both the sides are acceptable, are worth acknowledging, but there are some serious implications after this report. Okay, now there are risks to the fragile peace progress, hardening the position on both sides. Okay, moreover, Gaza still remains in crisis. There are food, water, medical supplies which are critically low, and most of the population in the region of Gaza is still living in tents with the reconstruction blocked. Okay, among international law experts, okay, there is a growing consensus on the need for independent, transparent investigation and adherence to the international humanitarian law by all the parties. Clear? So basically, the principle of law must apply equally to all, which is the fundamental demand. Okay. Moreover, there also have been the concern that where are we all heading in a conflict where over 21,000 children have been killed on one side and 1,200 civilians have been killed on the other side. There are no easy answers. Okay, it is only the moral principles that can guide both the sides. Okay, no matter whatever has been found out. Okay, whether it has been a propaganda, whether it is true. Okay, but let us not lose sight of what this all is really about. Okay, this entire thing is really about the human lives. Okay, just imagine over 21,000 children have been killed. Okay, over 1,200 people on a single day had been killed. Okay, and every single individual now represents a name, family, future which would never be the same. The loss of civilian lives, especially children, on the side is deeply tragic and it demands urgent international attention. Okay, so first and foremost, there has to be an impartial investigation conducted. Okay, the full accountability must apply to any party, okay, whether it is state or non-state, that has violated the international law, and no country, no side should be above the scrutiny. Okay, so do let me know what all are your views upon this report and what should be the way forward. Okay, moreover, today we are starting off with our GS Foundation batch in English language. These batches are based upon our smart model of preparation, and this smart model of preparation is nothing less than an ecosystem for you, built specifically for you to prepare for your civil services examination. Okay, so herein you can assess, you can track your performance, and you can improve yourself on daily basis. Okay, so if you are preparing for 27, 28 or 29 examination, our P2I batches are starting today on 27th of June. So please do not waste any moment further. Use the code SRM Live to avail maximum discount and start your preparation in the best possible manner. Clear? So this was all from my side today. We'll see you all in the next session. Jai Hind.